Emotions were high as witnesses testified during today's trial of a local doctor accused of murder. And an area town is accusing a former official of stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars. We'll bring you the latest today on News Channel 10.
We have a cold front coming in tonight. It's going to stir up a chilly wind in the morning, but it won't be with us for long. Details next on Live at 5.
Now, the most watched news in the Panhandle. News Channel 10, Live at 5.
Day 2 of the Dixon murder for hire retrial has come to a close. News Channel 10's Shannon Smith spent the day in the courtroom and joins us now live in Lubbock with what happened today in the courtroom.
Well, Walt, today we heard from another 6 witnesses after Garland Timms of the Lubbock Police Department finished his testimony that he started yesterday afternoon. He presented more evidence to the jury, including pictures of Sonya's lifeless, bloodied body lying face down on the floor. Sonya's sons were present in the court today and struggled to look at these pictures of their father. 2 women who work at the dance studio with Sonya in Shetna took lessons. They both talked about a large, shaggy man that often lingered outside the windows of the dance studio but never came inside. One of the women broke into tears on the witness stand, saying Sonya, quote, was just a wonderful person. Coming up on the news at 6, I'll bring you the testimony of the lead detective in the case and what Dixon told him the day after Sonya's murder. For now, reporting live in the Lubbock County Courthouse, Shannon Smith, News Channel 10.
The former APD officer accused of sexually assaulting a woman in June will not face charges. 47th District Attorney Randall Sims says the Potter County grand jury returned a no bill today for Micah Muir. The incident happened in June when Muir responded to a home in northwest Amarillo. A 22-year-old woman at the home later claimed Muir sexually assaulted her. Following an internal investigation, he was fired from the police department. The APD says they cannot comment on the grand jury's decision. A Clarendon woman has been found guilty of intoxicated manslaughter. The Donnelly County Sheriff says Gina Cannon was traveling at a high rate of speed on Highway 287 through Clarendon. Cannon rear-ended an elderly couple, sending one of them to the hospital. That motorist later died from his injuries. Cannon was sentenced to 12 years in prison and has to pay a $10,000 fine. A man has used a popular Facebook group as a platform for robbery. According to police, a man was robbed after attempting to buy a phone through an Amarillo buy, sell, and trade group yesterday evening. After a disagreement between the 2 men, the seller demanded the victim's money and personal phone while pointing a gun at the victim. No arrests have been made at this time. If you have any information, please call Amarillo Crime Stoppers at 374-4400. And Amarillo police are searching for 3 suspects in a local robbery and are asking for your help. On October 10th, 2 women attempted to rob V&M Discount at 1000 Southwest 10th Street. Police now believe there may have been a male accomplice seen here in the photos with the 2 suspects. If you have any information about this crime, once again, give Crime Stoppers a call. A reward of up to $1,000 could be earned. We're tracking a fast-moving cold front that will blow through tonight. Let's send it over to Chief Meteorologist Doppler Dave Oliver live in the Storm Track Center with our first look at that front. Hello, Dave.
Hard to beat today's weather out there, just gorgeous. But we have a front that'll be in here tonight. It'll stir up a little wind, and that's about it. But let's see how beautiful the day is today. Here's a look at our satellite loop. And boy, look at the clear skies all around our area. We're just kind of in between weather systems today. Not only is it sunny, but temperatures are wonderful. We're sitting right at 76 degrees right now in Amarillo, so have temperatures very comfortable levels for this time of year. The front that I mentioned is not too far away. It's coming down through Colorado, so that's going to sweep on down to the south. Main thing that we'll notice tomorrow morning is a brisk north wind. It's going to be chilly, but this is a fast-moving system, so the wind will actually drop off tomorrow afternoon, and temperatures will only be slightly cooler. So we're going to track that front. We do have a system that's looking promising for rain also. I'll have more on that coming up. Now we'll send it back to news.
Thank you, Dave. Randall County has lifted its burn ban effective immediately. The Randall County Fire Department reminds residents they need to comply with the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality outdoor burning requirements. Residents should only burn allowable trash when winds are calm and when water or fire extinguishers are readily available. The burn ban will be re-implemented as environmental conditions change and vegetation becomes easily ignitable. Approximately $300,000 in money and equipment has allegedly been taken from the Darrozette Volunteer Fire Department and Hospital District. News Channel 10's Kaylee Merchak is live in the News Center to tell us more about the investigation.
Mayor Sandy Woods and Hospital Board Vice President Mark Lobmeyer believe Jimmy Wilmoth is responsible for the missing funds. Wilmoth, who is chief of the Volunteer Fire Department and president of the hospital board, is allegedly in possession of goods that have been donated to the county, such as used fire vehicles. An audit performed by the Dawson Forensic Group shows over $100,000 of funds spent may not have been used for business purposes. Lobmeyer says without receipts for those transactions, Wilmoth should pay them back.
Until we see receipts that actually account for this $100,000 of missing funds, then someone owes that.
Wilmoth says if any personal items were charged to the fire department, they were paid back by the next meeting and were approved by other department members. 4 audits have been performed, yet auditors say due to a lack of proper documentation and records, finding fraud is not possible. Reporting live in the News Center, Kaylee Merchak, News Channel 10.
Well, after being in the hospital for more than a month, Officer Justin Sherlin has been released. You may remember he was in a severe collision last month. While he was being released from the hospital, he will continue to receive physical and occupational therapy over the course of the next several months. The entire Sherlin family would like to say thank you to the entire Panhandle area for their endless thoughts and prayers for his health and well-being. A local organization aimed to help abused and neglected children broke ground on a new facility this afternoon. The Arrow Child and Family Ministries East Amarillo campus will not only include an improved facility, but will also include a new therapeutic group to help children with treatment. Organization officials say this $2.5 million project will continue to serve children in need in our community. A vehicle company has announced a recall for the same cars for a third time. And hundreds of benches are sitting in a field instead of being on Amarillo streets. We'll tell you why coming up on News Channel 10.
And we're tracking a cool north wind that will hit overnight, but it won't be with us for very long. That and some rain chances ahead up next.
Now, the most watched news in the Panhandle. News Channel 10, live at 5.
Bus benches around Amarillo have seen their fair share of change. News Channel 10 Special Projects reporter John Canellis and Mary Coleman take an in-depth look at whatever happened to hundreds of bus benches in the city.
There were well over 400 advertising benches all across Amarillo. However, making them ADA compliant proved to be too much. Council member Randy Burkett, who owns an advertising company, was in charge of these benches. But around 10 years ago, the city was audited for their ADA accessibility. They did not meet the standards and chose to end Burkett's contract with the city. Since then, the city has been installing ADA compliant green benches in certain areas. However, Mayor Paul Harpel says there are still many more to install.
It was really based on that ADA audit where we learned a lot about the upcoming rules for ADA and what we would have to do to be compliant. And so as we looked forward, I believe I was on the commission back in 05-06 when that was decided. It was almost 10 years ago. And we looked at ways that we could be more compliant and live with and really enhance the ADA rules so that we could make our city more accessible for everybody.
If you would like to see an in-depth look from John Canellis about Randy Burkett's take on the whole ordeal, visit our website, newschannel10.com. Reporting live in the studio, Mary Coleman, News Channel 10.
For the third time in 7 years, General Motors is recalling cars for the same issue. The vehicle company says it is for 1.4 million cars. The concern is oil may leak and cause a fire. This mostly occurs when the vehicles are turned off. Most of these vehicles were recalled back in 2007 and 2009, but GM says they were not properly repaired. Those affected by the recall can go to a GM dealer to get those vehicles repaired for free. As coconut water gains popularity, some companies are trying to tap into other product ideas. Brian Webb tells us about one.
The latest healthy water to hit store shelves comes right out of a maple tree.
Maple water, when you hear that, what do you think?
Maple water? I'm not sure. It sounds sweet.
When I think of maple water, I think of like maple syrup.
Maple sap is actually a clear, watery liquid. It can be boiled down to make a sticky syrup, but a handful of companies are trying to tap into a new market and sell it as water.
We bottle that sap as it comes out from the tree.
Valentina Kunyaska launched Vertical Water last year, and it's now in 3,000 stores.
Consumers are really looking for natural foods and beverages, and maple water is a naturally occurring single ingredient beverage with nothing added or taken away.
A bottle costs almost $3. The makers say it's full of nutrients like iron and magnesium. But clinical dietitian Lisa Simperman says there's no solid evidence it's any better for you than plain H2O.
If you want to try maple water, see how it tastes, that's fine. But if you're using this as your main source of hydration, you're likely wasting your money.
The maple tree gives the water a very slight sweetness and 15 calories a serving. But how does it taste?
You can taste like the hint of, I guess, the maple, yeah?
Our taste test got mixed results.
It doesn't taste that bad.
Not bad, but not great.
Not great.
That's
I
actually good.
really like it.
The question is, will enough Americans like it to make maple water a sweet success? Brian Webb for CBS News, New York.
There could be new recommendations for older diabetics, and guidelines on how much food a woman should eat before labor could be different than in years past. That's next on News Channel 10's Live at 5.
Now, the most watched news in the Panhandle. News Channel 10, Live at 5.
The Amarillo Fire Department is working to raise awareness and money for breast cancer research. Now until Thursday, those firefighters will be wearing pink shirts to raise awareness. Now these shirts, you can join them by buying one for $10, and you can pick one up at any of 5 available fire stations around town. For a list of those locations, visit newschannel10.com. All proceeds will go to benefit 2 local cancer research foundations. For a long time, women in labor have been warned not to eat or drink anything. But as Marley Hall tells us, that could be changing.
There's a little nose right there.
Hannah Peck is expecting her first child any day now.
Oh my gosh, her face.
It's long been recommended that expectant mothers like Hannah fast while delivering.
The idea that you can't eat or drink anything during labor doesn't make sense to me, because labor, for me, is a physically strenuous activity that could last days.
The concern has been that if a woman needs to undergo general anesthesia for a cesarean delivery, she might inhale regurgitated liquid or food. But according to a new study from the American Society of Anesthesiologists, that almost never happens thanks to improvements in anesthesia. Researchers say eating a light meal may even be beneficial. Obstetrician Jacques Moritz of Weill Cornell New York Presbyterian says the findings are revolutionary.
Because the woman is going to have more energy and the baby is going to have more energy when it comes out. So it's a very important study.
Hannah says knowing she can eat is a big relief.
That I'm now able to drink or eat if I need to, if I need an extra bump of energy during labor, is great news.
She says just having that option makes the whole process sound less scary. Marley Hall, CBS News, New York.
Could she open her eye?
Diabetics may need less medication later in life. A new study found doctors should consider cutting back on some of the drugs they prescribe to seniors. Experts say diabetes patients over 70 taking medication to reduce blood sugar or blood pressure can actually increase the risk of dizzy spells, which can cause confusion and even falls. Well, that wind will be picking up overnight. Doppler Dave has the details when we return on News Channel 10's Live at 5.